Until we have a crisis, then then it's too late. Retirement eligible controllers are being offered bonuses to stick around. On Wall Street, stock futures are rising, suggesting there could be a rebound from yesterday's big sell-off. The Nasdaq plunged more than 1,000 points. Oh, that's what it is. I keep looking over this. Mm-hmm. The I think it's in the background. Okay. We'll get started up, Randy. Okay. Have you started yours yet? Oh, yes, ma'am. We have started. Okay. And good morning and welcome into the Friday morning viewpoint for this Friday morning, February 6, 2026. I'm your host, Randy Williams. And as I've been announcing, I have the pleasure this morning of having two great guests. Of course, the superintendent of Selma Schools, Dr. David Scott, and the district STEAM and Educational Technology Director, Ann Williamson. Boy, good morning, guys. How are you? Good morning. Doing fine. It's always a pleasure having you here. And I tell you, I have been hearing some wonderful things this morning before we got started about what's happening with STEAM. And I know the superintendent's got some pretty good stuff coming up too. What about that community forum, the meeting? When is that?
Yes, we have that coming up on Tuesday, February the 24th. And just another opportunity for us to kind of meet, with our stakeholders, just kind of bring them up to speed on what's going on with Selma City Schools in terms of school discovery and also the combining of Clark and Payne. So in particular, that community meeting will focus on kind of how we got to this point, looking at the attendance over the past few years and the decision-making process that went into that and the feedback we got from our community members to kind of bring everybody kind of up to speed on where we are with all of that.
So has the decision been made?
Yes. So the decision was made at our last board meeting to combine Clark and Payne. So in essence, Clark will be closing and combined with Payne. And then we'll talk about and share what went into making that decision.
Yeah, I'm curious myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought, I was thinking about this week and I said, well, I would imagine the age of the building and its safety features and all of that would be a factor, huh?
It does, but the biggest part of it is the enrollment over the past few years and how what that decline has looked like. Both Payne and Clark right now they stand below 200 students. So Clark has about 110, maybe 111 students enrolled in grades K through 6, and then Payne has about around 130 enrolled in grades K through 6. And so what's also impacting that number will be the school discovery, because right now those schools are K through 6, but school discovery will be grades 5 and 6. So when we open school discovery, that will make those numbers even smaller. So that's part of the decision-making process, looking at the enrollment overall.
I rode by yesterday, and that school of discovery is amazing. This really looks good, And it's not going to be that much of a jump from Clark to Payne because they're really two blocks apart.
Right, they're very close proximity.
Yeah, so it's not a major, change, I wouldn't think, for parents and people to live in that area.
And we have things planned, a meet and greet for the staff, open house for the parents. So we have several things that will be taking place these next few months to get everybody kind of acclimated to the change that's coming.
Okay, that should be really interesting. And we're going to kind of switch gears just a little bit and introduce to some, and probably I'm sure there are a lot of people who know Miss Ann Williamson. And she's over STEAM. You're a STEAM specialist. Tell us, what is STEAM? So for folks who may not know.
Thank you for this opportunity to tell our story and all the awesome things going on. STEAM education is basically teaching children how to solve problems, think critically, and work collaboratively, work together using science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And people have said, is this one of those trends? In education, sometimes we go in cycles like everything else. And it's really not. This was first, like in the 1950s, as a national security issue, as a matter of fact, because as you know, the space race was going on with the United States, Soviet Union, with the Cold War. And then in 1957, when the Russians launched a satellite into space, it just set off all sorts of alarm bells that we needed to increase our education focus into science and math and technology.
Wow.
So that was STEM, where it started. And then it's just grown from then and added the arts piece because we're creating things.
Right.
That's art. So that's one thing, the subject. But what's just as important is how we teach it. And that's collaboratively and working in groups and experiments. So it's just so exciting.
You make me think about, what was it called? The Hidden Figures?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Katherine
you know?
Johnson. Yes, and then all the ladies that were so important in that and have been recognized at NASA for their role.
Now, you brought with you, and I'm going to switch the camera so that we can see, you brought with you some robotics. This is a robot?
Yes, we have a really awesome robust robotics program in Selma City Schools. One component is this type of robot. It's made by a company called VEX, VEX, and their competitions internationally. So our students build the robots. They have a set of directions. They have basic guidelines they have to go through. But beyond that, they make modifications. So what they're doing is building the robot, which will take about 6 hours.
6 hours?
Yes, sir.
Now, you say it comes in a box like Legos?
Yes, sir. These are similar to Lego pieces, exactly. And it has a brain. This is the brain of the robot.
Wow.
The students program it. So they learn computer programming, and they tell it what to do. Then they have the controller, which they sync to the robot. And they take it on a field and they accomplish certain challenges. They take objects and move them from one place to another. Pretty complex game and set of rules that they learn. And then they go out and compete. And each elementary school has at least one team. R.B. Hudson has 2 teams.
And hasn't R.B. Hudson been winning a lot of awards over the last couple of years?
Yes, sir. All of our teams did well. They all got into the final competitions. Meadowview actually, in a recent tournament at Hyundai Motors is one of our partners. They won the judges award for teamwork. So we were very proud of their team for accomplishing that.
Now, why would Hyundai be a natural partner?
Awesome. They have provided professional development and equipment for our teachers and for our students. They have gone over there to see how learning these robotic skills transfer into career skills. We've taken tours of Hyundai to see all the robotics involved in Hyundai. So much of their manufacturing is done robotically. So they learn not only these skills, but how they can be careers in the future.
Well, I'm a big proponent, almost on a regular basis. I get so frustrated when I hear a narrative that really undermines our youth's self-esteem and confidence. And then knowing that we have a lot of brilliant young people in our community, this is just another example. And the other thing is, I think that instead of us concentrating on trivial subject matters, I say we need to prepare our youth so that they can compete in the 21st century in this new digital age that we're in. And this is it. This is the kind of stuff that's what I'm talking about. We need to be focusing on helping them get it's learning how to code and how to program and build robots. Well, the Asian community is way ahead on that. That's what they do on a regular basis, So we got the American students have to play a little catch up. Let's switch gears again, and I'm going to go down the street to Cornerstone. Are you there, Jewel?
Had a game, and they were playing Enterprise, Alabama. And those kids work hard, they practice, they've got good coaches, and, so many. I just think about how community people could have been out there. It doesn't cost you anything to get in. You could go and watch them and support them. just gives them a sense of worth that somebody's coming to see them. They're excited about what they're doing, and we want good things for them. So keep that in mind, that they do have games at Wallace. It was just as nice as it could be. Nice seating. The atmosphere was good. The climate in the building is great. You're not too cold. You're not too hot. So support those coaches out there. We have a good thing in our junior college, and so if you don't know about the Wallace basketball, the Wallace football, not football, girls basketball, boys basketball were playing yesterday, and then in June or July, the volleyball girls will start again. But keep that in mind if you're looking for something to do on the Thursday. Yesterday was Thursday, and I keep saying I'm going to give you all the schedule, and I need to get that, but they'll be winding down pretty soon. But in the housing market, I want to talk about 505 Hampton Road. We've been telling y'all I was putting that on the list, and last Saturday morning I got it on the list and pushed the button, and by lunchtime we had somebody looking at it, but an agent took somebody to look at it and brought an offer, and it was accepted before I closed on Saturday, so that one is gone. And that was quick. That's a one-day turnaround.
That must be a real nice property, huh?
That was a nice property, and it was priced right. And so people heard it, and now people are so sorry that they didn't take advantage when they saw that sign go up, that they didn't go and look at it. Now they're saying, oh man, I wish I had done that. I wish I'd looked at it. We have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house on First Avenue. It's right down near Brown Drug Store, across on the other side. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, needs a little TLC, and it has an extra lot. And the beauty of this property is that it is residential or commercial. So it's got an extra lot beside it that's included in the price. $49,000. Investors or people who want to get a business going, that's a great area for you. 403 Alabama is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Kathleen Bender has got this property, and it's been reduced from $40,000 to $35,000, and that's a great price for a house. 3 bedrooms and 1 bath. We have a lot, a river front lot at Twin Rivers Preserve. Now, you know, that's down past 10 Pops Barbecue. It's a 1-acre lot. You go through those gates. It's a wooded lot, but it's level, and it's for sale, 1 acre. So you can be right on the riverbank, Randy. Build you a house down there and get to your home.
Stop tempting me. Stop making me dream, huh?
To the river properties. And then don't forget the farmers market in Orville, Alabama. It's for sale. It's at a great price. We need this property to be up and going. We need to go down there and have a Valentine party on Valentine's night and have a steak and or have a chicken cooked out. So if you know somebody who's even thinking about getting in the business of food service or selling some retail in there, give them this property, because Orville really misses it, and we need that. It's a great property, and it's priced to sell. So call Cornerstone Realty, 872-0441, or come by 519 Lauderdale. We have plenty of agents to serve you. If your favorite agent is not there, we'll find them. Or you can pick your own agent. Just because the sign is on the property does not mean that you have to call them. You can call anybody who's an agent, a real estate agent.
And what's that number for people to call you at?
872-0441, and 519 Lauderdale is the address, and I want to put in a happy birthday Sunday to Candace Williamson. She is our office manager down there, so give her a shout out because she's going to have a big birthday on Sunday.
Well, thank you so much, Jewel. It's always a pleasure talking with you. And if I don't talk to you before then, you have a happy Valentine's Day.
Because that's who's going to be taking care of us.
I know that's right. Thank you so much. Talk to you the next time. Okay, that was Jewel Williamson at the Cornerstone. And our guest this morning, Dr. David Scott, Selma City School Superintendent, and Miss Ann Williamson, a STEAM specialist. And you said you had some recent competition that the students participate in, and what do you have coming up?
Yes, sir. We certainly did. We had the Hyundai competition over in Montgomery, Hyundai Motors. And then we had a competition at Wallace Community College. Shout out to Mayor Johnny Moss, who wrote the grant to enable that competition. He's done that for several years, and we appreciate him coming by and speaking with the students.
Well, that's good.
Our students did very well in that competition. They all placed in the finals. And then a final competition we had was a Thursday in Camden. This was sponsored by the University of West Alabama at the Camden School of Arts and Technology. And again, both of our teams, Edgewood and Hudson, competed in that, and they were in the finals.
Wow.
So our competition season concluded this week for the year, and then from now on we'll be practicing skills and getting ready for the next season.
Wow, that is really amazing. That's really good. Dr. Scott.
Yes, sir.
The basketball playoffs are coming. What's happening with that?
So we're going to be hosting the 5A area playoffs, and that'll be starting next week. And so on Monday, our girls will play Jemison at 6:15. Demopolis and Montebello will play at 5 o'clock. And then on Tuesday, our boys bracket, Montebello and Jemison will play at 5. And then Selma will play Demopolis at 6:15. And then the championship games will be Wednesday, the girls' championship game at 5 o'clock and the boys at 6:15.
So the championship is being played in Selma?
Yes, we're hosting.
Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah, we have people here from all over the state, huh?
Yes, we will. And we invite, of course, the community to come out and support Selma High School Monday, Tuesday, and then, of course, Wednesday, because we know they're going to be in the championship game. So
now the teams didn't just get there; they weren't just selected. They had their records.
Yes, their records. So Selma High School girls, they're number 1 seed, and the boys are also number 1 seed.
What?
So they've had great seasons.
Oh, man.
And so we want to see them finish strong and want to just come out and support them in the tournament next week.
Well, that's good. Now, also, you've got another special program coming up. I think it's not next week, but the Tuesday after next week, February 17th, a night of love from the heart. What is that?
Yes. So Miss Milledge is here, and she can kind of talk more about that. But it's really a chance to bring the community together to really talk about some family relationships and the importance of those relationships, and then also it's also encompassed around cardiovascular health. Today is our Wear Red Day to support cardiovascular health, and so just inviting the public out to talk about family relationships and health, and just a way to kind of give back and connect with the community.
Now, so you have Nurse Ira Austin. She's going to be dealing with the heart piece.
Yes, we have Nurse Austin that'll be making presentations. We'll also have Pastor Crum and his wife as well on the agenda for that day.
Okay, and then Pastor John Grayson and Dr.
I'm sorry,
C.C. Grayson.
Grayson, yes.
Oh,
yes,
I thought you had added, Reverend Crum. Okay.
Pastor Grayson and his wife.
Well, we know that they're really active in the community and Gospel Tabernacle. So that's wonderful. Anything else that you like for the community to know?
We do want them to come out. We have prizes, some giveaways, and so we really want to make sure that we take time to connect with our community. So please come out. to our event the next week.
That Tuesday, and it sounds like it's only scheduled to be an hour.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So from 5 until 6.
Yes, we get them in and get them out.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, okay. And then the next big meeting though is that community forum. Where is it going to be at?
It's going to be at Clark.
It's going to be at Clark.
Yes.
Okay, all right. What time?
It'll be from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
So it's another hour.
Yes.
So you don't do those long,
No,
you
we
know.
don't.
I don't know if you probably figured it out by now, but Selma has more meetings than any city I've ever been in. New York doesn't have as many meetings as we do. But,
we know people are busy, but we do want them to come out. We want to make good use of their time and respect of their time. So we try to get in and get out and just make sure they have what information they need while they meet.
See, that's what I call efficiency, you know. And speaking of efficiency, going back to STEAM, how long did it take it to go from STEM to STEAM, to add in the arts component?
Well, the STEM part started, as we said, in the 1950s. It was about 2010 that they decided to add the arts because it was just a natural part of it with the creation that they were doing. And all the arts just blended in together with it. And you want to reach all the students. Everyone has a special interest and special gift. And so that's why it was incorporated into that.
Do you have any tips for parents that want to encourage their children to take advantage of the STEAM program and the technology? And what if a student has some deficiency with math or some other area that would prevent them from being able to excel in the robotics, for instance? Do you have any tips for parents?
Well, yes, there are many different roles in the robotics teams, and we have robotics in different areas of the schools as well. You can learn and put your math into practice and learn it through doing. And there are different roles. There are people that design on this team. There are those who are in charge of keeping the team organized. So there's a role for everyone.
Oh, okay.
In addition to the competition with VEX, with this robots, we have robotics through our library media specialists. So all the children are exposed to that. They don't build those robots. They're different types, Autobots, Bebots, those types of robots, but they use the robots. They program them in learning literacy. So you don't have to be a math whiz to be involved. There's a role for everyone.
Okay, yeah, I hadn't thought, what I would imagine then that with the team that won the Judges Award for being, so you obviously are teaching those kind of skills that, for building teams.
Yes, sir, exactly. The Judges Award recognized not only their skills and abilities, but their teamwork and overcoming challenges. And it's a holistic thing. And so, yes, sir, there's a place for everyone in it.
And so we're doing pretty good. The state of Alabama is coming up when it comes to technology and math and science.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And in the past few years, our teams, especially at Hudson and Meadowview, competed in what we call, there's a competition, the Governor's App Challenge, which Governor Ivey sponsors. And then Congresswoman Terry Sewell will have the Congressional App Challenge. And a few years ago, we had a team win and go to Washington and be recognized. We had a second team win, but the trip was cut because of COVID. And we're competing again this year. And we hope to
Let's hope that we're going to Washington again.
We hope to hear good news. The winner has not been announced this year, but we have a strong competitive team from Hudson.
Now, how long have you been involved with STEAM?
STEAM, I think we've had it in Selma City Schools for maybe 5 years.
Okay, and you've been there from the beginning, huh?
Yes, sir. That was an initiative. Dr. Avis Williams launched that during that time.
And she's still in New Orleans?
No, so she's back in Tuscaloosa
No.
in a consulting, having a consulting business. Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes, sir. She's doing well.
Well, I don't blame her. I would have left. I don't know if I would have wanted to have gone to New Orleans. As crazy as it gets down there, huh? Do you know Dr. Williams, Dr. Scott?
Yes, her and I, even though we worked in different districts in Tuscaloosa, our paths crossed a couple of times. So yes.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, that's good. And I know you're busy. I know that that you got a lot on your plate. I'm sure both of you do. Anything else that you'd like to cover?
Yes, so this month is also CTE month, Career Technical Education Month.
Mm.
And so there's several things we have going on this month to celebrate career tech education. One thing this morning, we have in morning with the mayor, so Mayor Moss will be at Selma High School this morning, doing a proclamation in honor of CTE Week and also CTE Month and then FBLA Week. So very excited to be sharing different types of events. So just information with our students and the public about our CTE program.
Now, FBLA, when is that week? Does it this week or next week?
FBLA week is going to be next week. And so there are several things that's planned for that next week. And then the third week will be collaboration week. We're going to have days for our boys and girls dressed for success. We're going to have a district-wide day where they wear their favorite college wear. So several different things planned for the month to celebrate career tech.
And from someone in the audience who may not know what FBLA stands for,
Future Business Leaders of America.
And they too have had some national awards, huh?
Yes.
Selma has. So we're doing a lot of positive things, in Selma and with the school district. Ms. Williamson, anything you'd like to add before we let you go?
Well, thank you for giving us this opportunity to share. I would like to shout out all of our schools. There's a national recognition. Cognia, our certifying agency, has a Cognia STEM certification program and really rigorous standards. And all of our schools, we have 2 schools that are still working on their certification, Clark and Payne. Clark and Edgewood, but Selma High School, R.B. Hudson, Payne, Meadowview, and SPK have all become Cognia STEM certified schools. So that is a national recognition, and we're very proud of that.
Wow. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you got to keep us piped in with the progress that you're making. Dr. Scott, anything else that you'd like to?
Just to remind the community to come out to the events we have going on these next couple of weeks. And just if there are any concerns or issues, we ask that they reach out to us first so we can kind of work through those things. We're not perfect, but we want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of our parents and our students as well. So we're in this together. So we encourage them to reach out to us if there are concerns that they have.
And I've seen you at a few events. Speaking of community, I saw you at the Dr. King March on the King holiday, and I've seen you at some other events. And you're low profile when you. I had to take a double look. I said, he looks like Dr. Scott. So you're getting involved, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I try to stay connected and attend as many events as I can just to stay connected to the community.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's very positive. Well, let me thank both of you for coming. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And anything I can do and then we can do here at the station and at selmapostherald.com, you can just count me in.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. We're more than glad to. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take this break and let our guests go. It didn't take as long as 30 minutes. That's not bad.
That's great.
And we'll be back. We'll be back with more after these messages. Okay.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. It's so good meeting you.
It's been delightful.
Yeah, and so we're still on YouTube, so I always tell people we don't want any Jesse Jackson moments.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Wow, that is amazing. That is really neat. I tell you, it's so nice to meet you. Mm-hmm. Anything I can do, just let me know.
Are we going to continue back with the 100 tours?
We'll check with them and see.
Good seeing you.
Let's continue too. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, then absolutely. Yes,
Yeah, I'll reach out to them. I'm glad we have that partnership. I want to do everything I can to help us keep that one.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Our friends at Reliable Chevrolet and GMC in historic downtown Selma, serving the area for 80 years.
You still want to?
Parker is with us right now. We're talking 2026 is just around. That's right, George. The New Year
I know you can be
kickoff.
shy.
Hey, now I haven't been here for 80 years, but I've been in the business a little over half of that. But we have been located right here in downtown Selma for 80+ years. We're doing business the old-fashioned way, working one deal at a time. We want to get to know you and family. We want you to become part of the reliable family. So come by and see us in the market for a new Chevrolet or GMC or even a pre-owned automobile. We have got you covered there for all your driving needs. And then same thing with service. We can do all your service work.
And what's the admission?
How does that, all the time, we're a one-stop shop. Where we sell them and service.
They can pay at the door, or they have to go through the website.
At the door, it has to be
Mention
cash.
the financing part of it, and maybe someone along the way that has had a little hiccup or a hardship in the past. We're looking for good people, not necessarily good credit, right? That's right, George. We're set up with credit acceptance. They're known to help you reestablish your credit. Hey, it could be, several reasons why you had some credit problems. But as I say, it's not a problem here at Reliable Chevrolet GMC. We can get you reestablished and get you riding today. All here at Reliable Chevrolet and GMC. Come see the difference about local treatment in Central Alabama at Reliable, where they truly have it all. February is the month of love. And if you would love to put some pretty furniture in your home, you need to get to Gray's on Broad in Selma. And it's a fantastic response. They still have their living room suites at 20% off regular price. There's one-of-a-kind items and beautiful furniture for every room in your home, and 12 months interest-free financing. Open 9:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and 10 to 3 on Saturday. Gray's on Broad. Furniture you will love to come home to.
Banking the way it should be at First Copper Bank means you never have to worry about the season or the weather with online banking. It's always there and always on. 24/7, 365, even on holidays.
I'm Richard Walker, president of First Copper Bank, here to let you know that all of our online
that might be a good idea.
have been invaluable
If
to our
do you want to push the playoffs?
Mr. Glover,
discovered how convenient and easy
what's the
it has
cost
become
for the
to
game?
manage financial resources without having to sign inside.
$10.
And all of our
They
online
can pay
services,
cash
including mobile
or
banking now, are free. Visit
Go figure.
firstcahoma.com
Okay,
to get
all right.
all of the
Thank you.
information, or feel free to call any of our locations.
What is the first day of the playoffs?
It starts Monday.
Starts Monday.
The tournament
That's
starts
what I
Monday.
mean, yeah.
Starts Monday.
And what's the first day that the Selma team plays?
Monday.
We would love for you to join.
Yeah,
our
it's,
community bank family.
The text that I sent you, it has who they're playing and what time.
Well, you may want to have somebody come in on Monday.
Okay, let me see.
See what you can, Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay. 1490 WHBB. Let me thank Ms. Cynthia Millage and Dr. Scott and Ms. Williamson for coming in this morning, because, these are things that we need to know. Selma has a long tradition of excellence in the educational system for both public and private schools in Dallas County, and so although it appears that our population, well, we know especially since the tornado is going down, but it may come back up again. And not only that, quality, is more important than quantity. And we have good quality in our school systems in Dallas County, both Dallas County and Selma City schools. And so, and again, to me, that's more important. We get into a lot of discussions, and there's a lot of trivial distractions that take place. But at the end of the day, our youth, and being supportive of them and helping them acquire the skill sets they need to be productive citizens and to succeed in life and have a good, a healthy self-esteem. That goes a long way. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning, man. I'm just trying in, so I missed Dr. Scott and whomever was with him.
Ms. Williamson.
I really wanted to touch base on some of the other issues that we have. Yesterday, there was a conversation with a lady was talking about, and I don't know, but anyway, I seem to have lost the track. Let me just go back to something else that was. A man mentioned that people often bring up the Freedom Foundation folks, or he sometimes hear that name. You know what? You want to hear compliments and good things from people who I know had a good heart and tried to do the right thing. So whatever he felt about them, or whatever prejudice he felt toward anything that they did, we can talk about it all we want to. I got a chance to be with those people on a consistent basis, and to me, they were the kindest, the well-meaningest people I have ever met in Selma. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling. 334-875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. And let me remind you about the City of Selma Parks and Recreation Department. They are in the midst of registration for 13 to 18 youth baseball, softball. The cost is $20. Registration started on January 26th and will go through May 23rd. And registration days are Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Locations are at Memorial Stadium, the office. You can get an application at the office or on the Selma City of Selma website. And they're looking for volunteer coaches. If you're interested, for more information, contact the City of Selma Parks and Recreation Department at 334-431-9356 or 334-375-3994. And again, this is another area that has produced a lot of positive results over the years. You know, athletics is not to be underestimated. Although everybody is not going to make it to the pros, everybody's not going to be a professional athlete, but what they learn in the process helps build character and work ethics, you know, and learning how to get along with other people, learning how to be a team, the discipline that it takes to be a successful athlete, just going through the process will certainly overlap into other areas of their lives. And I've been kind of watching from afar a lot of the different techniques and programs that have been going on within Selma and Dallas County to help the athletes develop core, really Christian values, you know, and that goes a long way as well. I know some people cringe when you say Christian these days. You know, it's not about being popular; it's about building character. 334-875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Speaking of character, really, I hadn't called that because I did think about the other things.
Willie Owens introduced you to your former husband. Wow.
And had I known Willie Owens to be the person
Now I'm trying to remember. Wasn't Reverend Hunter, I believe, was Felicia's father, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Reverend Hunter, and I thought so. And I remember her. I remember her mother also. Yeah.
Yeah, you know those girls, Felicia, Katrina, We all got some nice children. But you know, they were related to, what is his name? One of the Magnificent Eight, Mr. What is his name? Howard?
Reverend J.D. Hunter?
Yeah, Howard.
Yeah, Reverend Hunter. That's what I thought. Yes, ma'am.
For those girls, for those children. Did you know that?
He what?
He's the grandpa, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought I remembered. That's what I was trying to remember. It's been a while, but yes, that's what I remembered.
I just mentioned it because it just shows you how good blood and bad blood can mix. And so everybody says, well, label with arms and being the bad one. And I mentioned that just in fun and just, I don't.
Well, interesting enough though, as Willie Owens got older, he began to mellow out. He really mellowed out and really, he was a very thoughtful person.
And I know who he was. He showed when they introduced me to the man that I met.
Well, he had his rough he had some rough periods, but I wouldn't underestimate Mr. Willie Owens, and he was a confidant of the late Mayor Joe Smitherman.
And yeah, because he came to my house right after I moved back here. And I had no other people that were coming to me, were coming with some butt and dirt and all the way to connive and play their games. I never would have introduced them. I never would have been around them. I don't like that kind of stuff. He told me that he was going to be, I guess he was coming to get me to convince me to be on their side or to play their games and all that kind of stuff. Because he was giving me a chance and told me what to do and how to do. So then he was, in other words, he was just living a dirty dog, wasn't it? He was doing dirty work because he told me what God and he wanted to make with me. And I certainly was not the one to play that game, to be the devil. But I just mentioning that because truly, when I know we are back in those days, who he really was, rather than being the person who just targeted me. If I had known the tricks that these people play in film, I never would have been a part of it. But I'm glad I didn't be a part of it. I did. But I sure wouldn't have been with the person that I was. Interested in it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling 334-875-1490 and 1490. Two of the numbers to call. Speaking of tricks, and I often refer to dirty tricks, the dirty tricks department. That's my concern about what is happening to politics on a national level. And so, I found it interesting that there are people that are really seriously resisting any kind of a movement that would return to paper ballots. To me, I would think that in this day and age of artificial intelligence, and we're being warned, and every day we're being warned about the power of artificial intelligence and its ability to manipulate information and manipulate numbers. Well, you eliminate all of that with a paper ballot. There's some people may say, well, that's going backwards, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a surer way to prevent fraud and prevent elections being stolen. And so for those people who say all that doesn't exist, you're just exaggerating. Tell that to the people in Fort Deposit. Tell the residents of Fort Deposit that the day of people learning how to manipulate absentee ballots is gone. You tell them that, right? Well, somebody got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. And so, so we really have to keep an eye on that. And then the other thing that I find interesting is why would I resist? Why would a movement resist having legal photo IDs? If anything, they should be raising money to help people get legal photo IDs that can't afford them. But that's too much like unselfishness. Instead, a lot of these organizations raise money to put into their pockets. And so every time I read about another organization that has come up that says they're for the people, and the founders and top leadership in that organization gets found with $1 million condominiums and living in mansions, and the money that's intended to go and help the people doesn't get to the people but goes in their pockets, all it does is reinforce my opinion of why it's necessary to trust but verify. Well, really, not to trust and verify. Let the buyer beware. We got some slick ones out there. All kinds of tricks. The dirty tricks department. They're still alive and well. That's for sure. Let's take this break. Coming up in the next segment, I've got the scheduled Dr. May Richmond in Selmont and Mr. Eric Williams. They're going to come and talk to us about a movement that's underway that they're a part of, I believe, to incorporate Selmont. And so we'll get a chance to find out what they're talking about and what they're hoping to do. And speaking of Selmont, there was a fire at the old Fireside Inn. Some people will remember it originally as the Fireside Inn. That's what it was when I was growing up. But the name changed, and I don't guess it's been open for a while, but it was called The Takeover. But anyway, fortunately, nobody was hurt that I know of. I don't even know. I think it was abandoned, an abandoned building. And so that's under investigation. Let's take this break, and I'll be back with more right after this.
Dr. Ralph Redd and the staff of Alabama Vascular Specialists are proud to announce they are now operating at their new Selma location on Thursdays. Alabama Vascular Specialists continues to grow and is now at 2117 Broad Street in the former Lightfoot Chiropractic office across from Selma High School. This newly renovated location of Alabama Vascular Specialists will enable Dr. Redd, Dr. White Gibbons, Dr. Tan, along with their entire staff, to better serve the patients of Central and West Alabama. If you or someone you love suffers from poor circulation in your legs, from symptoms of PAD, peripheral artery disease, you should contact Alabama Vascular Specialists as soon as possible. No physician referral required. Telephone number 334-801-9952 or alabamavascularspecialist.com. Growing to better serve those in need of vascular treatment and surgery. Alabama Vascular Specialist.
It's a big world out there, fast-paced and full of challenges. The last thing you need when you have a vehicle accident is more hassle on top of hassle. Wouldn't it be great if you could just go sit down and talk to Mom and Pop? Well, you can. Mom and Pop are alive and well at Our Beauty Body Shop in Selma. Aaron and Cindy Grimes have owned and operated Our Beauty Shop for a good while now, and they extend their caring family approach to their customers. Certainly, they have the latest multi-tech equipment and highly trained technicians, and they have an excellent relationship with all the insurance providers. But they have something no other body shop has. They have Aaron and Cindy, the mom and pop of vehicle body repair. A simple approach to discussing the damage, the estimate, and the factory quality repairs. Please drive safe, but if you have an accident, ask your tow truck driver to take your vehicle to Mom and Pop Auto Beauty Body Shop, 2114 East, phone 334-872-2248. There are currently no delays. They can get you in today and start your repairs right away.
1490 WHBB. We've had a lot of discussions, and there's been a lot of discussion nationally about DEI, but I think people have forgotten about the history of affirmative action. And, once it achieved what it set out to do, there becomes a point where it crossed the line, according to many people. Legally, there have been several lawsuits. I think Bakke is the first one that comes to mind, where to achieve a level playing field, after the level playing field is achieved, then people cross the line and start discriminating against white folk. And there have been several cases. In fact, there's a recent case. Starbucks, I believe, had to pay $25 million to a white employee because of reverse discrimination. And the same is true with, I think, Nike is now facing a federal probe of alleged discrimination against white employees in favor of the DEI. So, I remember when there was a debate about, and I think it happened in Selma at one point within the police department, as I recall, when they were trying to, when you are being intentional about hiring minorities, but do you do it at the cost of other people, at the cost of whites? Do you promote a person? Do you get a new employee who has the academic credentials but no experience over a 30-year or an experienced law enforcement or any other business a person that has the experience to know what they're doing, but because they're not a minority, you overlook them and say, well, we don't want to put the best qualified person in place. We want to put somebody in place because of the color of their skin. What kind of a message is that to send this next generation? What did Dr. King say in his speech, about the day that we get to the point of where we can be judged by the content of our character and not the color of our skin? That goes both ways, and I know some people don't want to hear it because it doesn't benefit their agenda. It's not what they're promoting. It's not what they're pushing. It's not how they get paid, and there are a lot of consultants who were consulting for DEI that were making millions of dollars from consultant fees. Let's take this break, and I'll be back with more after this.
Good morning, I'm Judd Davis. Here's what's happening in the news on this Friday. Animal control officers in Macon County responded to what they're calling the worst case of animal hoarding they've ever seen. They found more than 30 chihuahuas being kept in a home in Tuskegee. The investigation all started when police got a call about a resident who recently passed away, but still had dogs on their property. Animal control officers took all the dogs in for now. We are now one signature away from Alabama having a new law regarding the death penalty.
Make yourselves at home.
41. The House and Senate both passed it. Now it just needs the governor's signature. It would make the death penalty an option now for cases involving rape or torture when the victim is less than 12 years old. Previously, the death penalty could only be used in crimes involving death. The Winter Olympics from Italy begin today. You can watch it all on NBC. Opening ceremonies from Milan will air today at 1. If you miss it this afternoon, you can watch again tonight in prime time at 7 p.m. That's your news on this Friday. I'm Judd Davis for WSFA 12 News.
Near 1490 WHBB weekend weather. Sunshine and warming up today. The high expected to make it up to the low to mid 60s. Wind will still be
in the singing mood this morning.
I got to be prepared.
Well, that's good.
Yesterday.
Brother Todd, we had a drill yesterday.
Sunshine.
Oh, okay.
So we
For tomorrow night, clear and cold again, down to the upper 20s. For Sunday, we warm back up to a high near 60 with sunshine. Partly cloudy Sunday night, down to only 40 for the overnight low, and all the way up to 71 Monday with partly sunny skies, and it looks great through the middle of next week.
I'll be right
That's a
back.
look at your weather. Have a wonderful weekend, and thank you for listening in.
Make yourselves comfortable.
WHBB.
Going on here. Tell me this.
What we're supposed to do.
We're with Barry Parker and our friends at Reliable Chevrolet and GMC in Selma, serving the area for 80 years. And it's a brand new year, Barry.
That's right, George. It's hard to believe that 2026 is here, but we're ready to kick it off and get it started. So we invite you to come down and see us in the market for a new Chevrolet or GMC. We have got the inventory from trucks, from your small trucks all the way up to the heavy duty. Same thing with your SUVs, whatever you're looking for when it comes to a new Chevrolet or GMC. We invite you to come by and see us.
Of course, when you're talking about new Chevrolets and new GMCs, you've got to be talking about everything from the Trax to the Equinox, right?
And that is correct, and all the way up to the Yukons and Tahoes, Suburban, Yukon XL. Folks, whatever you're looking for when it comes to a new Chevrolet or GMC, we invite you to come by and see us.
Barry, when you're talking about reliable, you're talking about great service with just about any name brand that needs service. You can do it all except for warranty work on the non-GM brands, right?
That's right. Warranty or recalls we can do on non-GM product, but everything else from oil change, tire rotation, new tires, brake batteries, belt, hoses, transmission, engine, whatever you're driving, we want to do your service work right here. And George, don't forget about the free oil change when you get to that fifth oil change. We want to get to know you and your family. We want you to become part of the Reliable family here at Reliable Chevrolet GMC, located in downtown Selma, 14th Lawrence Street. Stop by and see us, or give us a call, 872-2337, or check us out on our website at reliablegmc.com.
1490 WHBB, and now we're going to start the second segment of Viewpoint. As I've been announcing this morning, our guest is Dr. May Richmond and Mr. Eric Williams. And let me start by saying good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, Dr. Richmond, I was last referring to you as minister, but it's doctor now, huh?
By the grace of God. Keep moving right along.
Hold on one second. You need okay, go ahead. Yeah, and I'll do this. And Mr. Eric, it's been a while since we've seen each other. We've run into each other in unusual places, huh?
Most definitely. But it's always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure. Yes, sir. So so people who may not know, what's the name of the organization that you not for this particular initiative, but there's another organization that you were spearheading, that you had a board of directors for and all of that. What was the name of it?
It's Rolling Youth. It's a nonprofit that mentor young men. We get them educated, career builders, and social skills.
And how's that going?
It's going pretty well. We're still moving through the community. I have at least 3 young men that I have on my roster that I'm mentoring at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Are you targeting Selma or Dallas County, or what's your target area?
My target area is the whole Dallas County. I predominantly work in the Selma area, but that's mostly because that's my backyard.
Right.
So I do target the whole Dallas County. Right now I'm trying to work on working in Valley Brand to try to help some of the young men that's at Martin Middle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so now let's talk about why you guys are here today. Who wants to start first? Mr. Williams, go right ahead. What's the name of the organization, and what are your goals? What is it that you're trying to accomplish?
So Operation Selma is the name of the organization we're running, and we're trying to incorporate Selma because we believe that we have a future and we need more dedicated services for that area.
Mm-hmm. And how do you propose to do that?
Well, right now we got out a petition, and that's so we can collect the signatures of the residents in Selma, and those residents will be signing so we can get together to make a petition to the probate judge for us to incorporate that area.
Do you have a required number of signatures that you have to have?
Most definitely. We have 518 signatures that we need based on us having 2,700 registered voters in our community. We have a strong church base, established business industry, and strong neighborhoods to where we can develop a beautiful picture that we have only a blank canvas over there in Selma.
So the signatures for the petition, do these need to be voters, property owners? Can they be renters? How does that work?
Well, right now we're only focusing on the registered voters in our community because that we know for a fact that's the easiest way to get the probate judge to sign off so we can be established city.
Well, now from a legal standpoint, though, are there? It's been a while. I've worked with several people over the years who've had. I've been on both sides of the issue: annexation into the city of Selma and incorporation. I remember Mr. Crum was a real big proponent of incorporating Selmont, because at the time there was a strained relationship between the Black community in Selmont and city officials. But that no longer exists, and you don't, there was a time when you had a majority white population. Now you have a majority Black population. So the same reasons why some of the original people that wanted incorporation for Selmont, those reasons no longer exist. But some of the issues that came up, as I recall, a lot of them were centered around money and tax base and how much money, Selmont up to Craig is in the police jurisdiction. So Selmont receives police and fire protection. And I guess a good example of that would just be just a couple of days ago, the building that caught fire on Hood in Idaho. But they put it out within 30 minutes, but that was the Selma Fire Department. So if you have a major fire in Selma, I mean, where are you going to get the money from to provide fire and police protection?
That's a great question, Randy. We already have 2 established volunteer firefighter services over in the Selma area.
Are you talking about Craig?
Craig
and Tyler?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, can they as a volunteer fire department, are they able to provide the same level of protection as the Selma Fire Department, for instance?
I definitely believe that they can. One thing about that area where the fire was, it's located in the Selma Police and Fire jurisdiction. So they wouldn't have responded to that fire, or they wouldn't have responded as fast because it's inside of the Selma jurisdiction for first responders.
You're saying that the volunteer fire departments would not have, but is a volunteer fire department staffed 24 hours?
No, but that's the reason why we're trying to incorporate, so we can try to streamline it to where they can be 24 hours.
And so again, where does the money come from? How do you put together? How much do you know? How much approximately it will cost to fund the basics that you need for a fire department for Selma?
Well, we do know to establish a city, and looking at the pre-existing example by looking at Uniontown, Valley Grande, we know that we can streamline those services as well by using the $1.6 million, because we did the research, and it only takes $1.6 million to establish and run the city of Selma.
And so now let's break that down. $1.6 million. How does it break down? How much would be going towards police protection, for instance?
So we definitely will try to use our first established funding to establish the first responders of that community. So I think we'll try to use 40 to 30% of that funding going directly towards the first responders. And you have to look at stuff like business taxes that'll come in every year, but we got sales taxes that come in on the 20th of every month. So that's how the city would actually keep on going, because we will receive funding on the 20th of every month, so the day-to-day operation will keep on moving.
Well, you have to forgive me for being detail-oriented, but that's what I do, right? How many police officers are you talking about would be able to serve with a $1.6 million budget, and you're only talking 30-40% of that?
Well, right now, based on the numbers that we have and to cover that jurisdiction, if we put 3 to 4 police officers on the street, that'll be a great start. And we was also looking to try to create relationships with our local already pre-existing government, so we can have that assistance as well.
So, do you not think that with the current police protection and the police jurisdiction for Selma, you don't think that's adequate then? And Selma already has Selma itself, they have a shortage of police officers. How do you put, what is your goal? What do you think, what needs to be a fully staffed police precinct for Selma, what in terms of numbers? And you're talking 24 hours.
First, let me say Selma has a great city police staff already. But the one thing that we're trying to do is enhance the services on our side. That way we have pre-allocated services that's directly for that side. Most of what we have came to understand, uh, if you look at the police jurisdiction, that would be considered Ward 7. There's hardly anybody that's patrolling that street on a regular basis.
What do you mean when you say Ward 7? And what do you?
The police and first responders. They're just like the city council members or the county commissioners. They have certain wards that they provide services to, and that would be labeled as Ward 7 for the first responders or the police officers.
Are you saying if they was annexed or under incorporation presently? You're saying,
No, that's just the way they have it mapped as far as how they look at the areas that they go out to. So if they were going to respond over to East Selma, I think East Selma
is Ward 8.
In the police jurisdiction, I think that'll be like Ward 3 if they talk about first responders.
Yeah, well, that would make more sense with being closer to the Alabama River. Now, under this plan that you're talking about for annexation, geographically, what area does it, from where to where? In north, south, east, and west?
And we want to be clear. Randy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not annexation, it's incorporation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm saying for incorporation, what are the boundaries?
Okay. So that'll be 1.3 mile radius. So we look at that 1.3 mile radius, it'll go from the Selma area, from the foot of the bridge all the way to the top of Circle K.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll look at 41 and the other side over by the Fleet Market.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, there's an argument that also is out there about annexation, or that incorporation would prevent the city of Selma from growing. So what do you, in terms of being able to, you would stop its boundary at the foot of the bridge. Right now, the only place left, now there's two other areas left if Selma wants to grow, and that would be east towards Montgomery and west towards Demopolis. But if you incorporate, it's like Valley Grande cut off another way, Selma can't grow in that direction. What do you say to that?
Well, I do know that Selma has 14 going towards Prattville, and then they also have going towards Uniontown or Demopolis to be able to grow. Keep in mind, though, Raina, they have a business industry out on Sheffield. So if you're talking about growing, there's plenty of room for Selma to grow in that area, and also going towards Ortville or Demopolis.
What about name recognition? How do you presently Selma's name is known all over the world, and the Edmund Pettus Bridge is known all over the world, and that is one of the benefits and one of the advantages when it comes to fundraising and grants. People recognize Selma's name. Who would recognize Selmont? What would that do in terms of being able to get grants and other benefits from its name?
I think history have already shown on record that Selma already is a part of the history of the civil rights movement. And I think Ms. May will tell you a lot more about that one in detail.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Bloody Sunday actually initiated in the Selma area. However, Bloody Sunday itself actually took place in the Selma community across the bridge. And that's a historical area. Keep in mind that we have 2,700 voters, registered voters in the Selma community, and they are part of that history. And in my research in looking at the historical entities of how it took place, Selma is mentioned, believe it or not, in the history books as to where the Bloody Sunday took place across the river. And that's a part of a revenue for us because there's a historical area. So that's a part of tourism.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess I hear what you're saying in terms of fact, in historic fact, but in terms of perception, I don't know if anybody really even knows where or who Selma is.
no one knew where Selma was until the history took place. So if we want people to know who Selma and where Selma is, then we would have to promote it.
So you think we'd have to have another Bloody Sunday?
No, like that. from a positive perspective.
No.
Growth and development.
But it'd be work now. So now, so far, then what? And now there's a couple other things I seem to remember. It's been a while since I've even dealt with these issues, but it seems that I remember that you have a legal process, an application that you have to go through. And the last time I was involved with it, I think it was like $10,000 or $11,000 was the initial application fee to file the application because you have to, pay legal fees and all. I don't know if that was back in 2000 or 2001 or two, and so this is 26. That was 24 years ago or 26 years ago. So I knew everything has gone up. What's the legal fee now for the application?
Well, the legal fee, from my memory, don't quote me on it, but I think it's still at that same amount of money. So our biggest thing is to make sure that we're going out and trying to gather the people together. That way we, as the people, have a chance to collectively put this together by giving our voice and the one or two things that's needed, like finances, to push this mission forward.
So who's going to pay for where's the legal fee? Where's the money going to come from for the legal fee? Because you got to pay that up front, right?
Right.
Good.
We have funding that is available to us. As a matter of fact, our supporters have shared with us that what we're needing in order for us to initiate this incorporation will be available to us.
And all of this
various entities. And keep in mind, Randy, we have 40 plus business already established in the Selma community.
Yeah.
And those funds will be coming to the initiative of the incorporation. So those funds will be available to us also.
Well, I'm speaking in terms of initial organizing. Have you talked to the 40 businesses, any of the business owners, and what have they said?
I was just about to get to that. Randy, we have had a great response from our business owners. A lot of code enforcement have already been put in place in the Selma area. And some of the things that we looked at when we had the conversation was grandfathering some of the clauses already in for the business owners. That way they don't take any drastic or unexpected costs that they'll have to occur. So once we put that in place, they're more willing to buy into it, just like the citizens or the residents of the Selma community.
Okay, but I get, again, what I'm kind of focusing in on is the initial organization, and I'm sure you're going to be transparent and let people know who is funding it, because a lot of times the who usually answers why, in terms of agenda. And so that's why I'm asking the questions, And then the other thing was, I remember, again, it's been a while, but it seems like geographically you have to have so many property owners in relation to the geographic boundaries that would have to agree before you could even get to step one.
If we look at most of the registered voters that's in the Selma area, they are the property owner. We have a lot of senior citizens that have already pre-signed this ballot, and they've been staying on their property since they've been like 20 to 35.
Yeah, but what about the tax base in terms of the voters?
The tax base wouldn't have to change. With $1.6 million,
that's not a lot of money.
Right. We easily clear that with 2,700 registered voters. We're not even adding in the business owners in the management of Selma when we do that type of math.
Well, and so it sounds to me like you're saying there are two approaches, and that one would be through a majority vote, you're saying could get it done, as opposed to the financial numbers.
Right. So it's definitely two different ways that you can go about getting the petition done.
No,
I think it's three different ways, but we just gonna stick with the two.
Which two are you sticking with?
We're gonna stick with the registered voters, and then we're looking at the undertone that they're already property owners.
So, 1,000 plus homes in the area, residents in the area.
Again, I'm gonna, because I know it's gonna come up. How does that translate financially? Does that mean more taxes? Does that mean separate taxes? Or does that mean you're gonna be paying taxes for Selmont and Dallas County and Selma? How does that break down?
I definitely don't want to put the cart before the horse. So that is more of a group thing, a collective of Selmont. Because, once we incorporate, they will have to vote on the increase or leave it the same. And we really don't have to change anything about the community of Selmont about raising taxes, because 1.6 just to manage the community of Selmont is easily collected between the business owners and the normal property taxes in that area.
Mm-hmm. And again, a $1.6 million, and I have to sit down and and crunch the numbers to see just how much does it take to run a police department that will be able to just effectively keep the community safe in Selmont, and then how much money does it take to fund a fire department? We're talking equipment, we're talking cars, vehicles, transportation, overtime, 24/7. That's not something that you just do an 8-hour, 40-hour week. You're talking 24/7. And to me, $1.6 million may not even cover one department.
Well, if you're looking at instant change, then that would be an effect that you might have to be looking at. But if we're talking about over a period of time, the only thing that is a right now investment for the community would be in able to put the bodies in place. If you look at a normal way that you buy in your car, that's a down payment. If you look at us buying a vehicle for the fire department, that's a down payment. Streamlining the service of City Hall will actually reduce the cost of the city altogether, because we can do 3 days on and 2 days virtual. And we're looking to try to make most of the service virtual, because we're in a technology age right now to where you don't have to spend so much money to get what you need. You have 2% of every power bill, light bill, water bill that has to come back into the city now, when the whole time it's been going over to the city of Selma, and that come in every 20th of the month again. So you see what I'm saying when I say it's easy to run a city when it comes down to that.
Well, I don't think it's easy. See, that's the whole point. If it was easy, the city of Selma wouldn't have so many potholes. You know what I'm saying? The infrastructure in Dallas County wouldn't have taken as long for it to where we're not even where we need to be. That takes money and resources.
I definitely don't want to put the city of Selma in the conversation that we're having, because we're not trying to compare to Selma. We're not trying to say Selma is not able to do what they need to do. We're only focusing on the priority of the citizens over there. If we look at the work that the commissioner is doing right now in our community, he have almost repaid every street community inside of the Selma area.
Well, now let's go on. Let's be a little more forthcoming and transparent about that. State Representative Prince Chestnut was responsible for the monies that were used for paving the streets in Selma, and then probate judge Jimmy Nunn. Well, I'm talking the Tipton area. Representative Chestnut was responsible for, and then the quarters and Kings Bend Road, that was done by probate judge Jimmy Nunn. And so up until that point, and not to be critical of Commissioner Towns, but in fact, I can remember him once saying that he had very limited resources because it wasn't his time or his term as a commissioner to get the money. So now, which leads me to the other. As I remember the process, not only does the probate judge come into play, but your state senator and state representative, they also have to sign off on this, as I remember it.
Now, we had a great meeting with our commissioner and our probate judge, and that was just last week before last. We had a great meeting with them. Our next step, just for transparency, we're going to the state representatives. We're trying to have a meeting with them in the near future, so we can put this proposal in front of them, let them ask some of the same questions that you're asking now, and that way they can see what plan we have in effect to know where to be the cost. And then we plan on getting these collective together to build a plan for the Selmont community that we all can agree on that fits the needs of the Selmont community.
Okay. And Randy, as far as funding is concerned, Rebuild Alabama, with the roads and what have you, we've applied over the years for funding to come into the Selmont community, and we've always been referred back to the closest city to us. So as a municipality, when we apply for funding, that funding will come to the municipality to be able to take care of the roads and what have you in Selma. Highway 80 we're on Highway 80, but Highway 80 is a state road. And so funding, and once we become a municipality, we're responsible for our road and what have you within the Selmont community. So funds will be available directly to the municipality rather than going to another entity, and then they make a decision what portion we receive.
And and that's why it's good that the state representative and the state senator be involved, because they would have a more accurate projection on what to realistically expect in terms of whether or not how rural communities are being treated presently when it comes to money. One, it's a good idea, but in terms of in practice, we've got some calls coming in. They probably have some questions for you. 334-875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
I just want to say good morning to Mother Ray, and to Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Mitchell, and the gentleman she had with him today. I do know that I'm disappointed with the position that they are taking about incorporating rather than annexation. However, everybody has the right to argue that point. I will be making some comments in the future before this does take place, and I hope that people will attend their area meetings. We can still have the historical facts delivered. Unfortunately, that area has had the habit of electing people who have been in, who seem to have had some interest of their own, even when she was running for board education position. I think her contribution would be far greater than we still have on many of the people from the 80s have moved on, but they the best politicians that we should have had sitting around. Now, I would say that as far as I know she's a strong local figure, but I heard him earlier here, Mr. The praise for the payment of the roads, and I'm glad maybe you were able to catch on a part of it, because sometimes just a simple information or a simple information and what people tell you isn't all, and I know she does a research with her, but I do know that she's doing this with as to how valuable and how detrimental, how beneficial I think, instead of that detrimental, he's been detrimental far more than beneficial to our area, and certainly as a commissioner. So I wish you were born years ago. I appreciate Bob's service, but a lot of times those other politics about undermining in order to keep people such as those towns that towns moving in, and I think they are doing it with thinking that he's the favorite.
It's on phone.
You all really need to think about annexation and building.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for calling. 334-875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. Our guests this morning, Dr. May Richmond and Mr. Eric Williams, and they are here with Operation Selmont, an initiative to incorporate Selmont into its own city. And so, again, let's make sure that people understand. And when I look at government, and when I And there's in my past when I dealt with budgets, and when I dealt with fundraising, there's another side of me that's a little more critical and analytical when it comes to these things. So I guess I'll start with the basics. All right. You talked about, I guess what it really boils down to is City Hall. So are you going to buy a building, or there's going to be a building donated? Will the building be renovated? Does it be built from the ground? Or the first thing is, where would the administrative offices be?
That's a decision that will be made by the elected officials as to where buildings and what have you would be established. So we're not in the planning stage. We're moving forward. Most people concern or citizens' concern is, where's the funding coming from for us to be able to operate the Selma city municipality? And those fundings will be available to us from the businesses that we have there in the district, from the citizens and the various taxes that we have that are now not coming to us. Those taxes and what have you are being allocated to other areas. We're in the stages that we're in now. We're paying for fire and police protection in our area, but we're not really receiving fire and police protection. So we at the stage that we are now, we can't get any worse unless we don't do anything.
Oh no, we do worse.
Unless we do nothing, if we do nothing, no entities to take care of the city or what have you, then we will remain in the stage that we're in, or we get worse. If we do something and to build on the avenues or to build on the capacities that we already have in place, then we could be able to thrive. You and I grew up in that area. On Highway 80, where the museum is right now, used to be a Pontiac. Businesses, we had hundreds of businesses. Right now, we're speaking of 42. But over the years, we've had hundreds of businesses in that area. If we manage crime, if we manage code enforcement, then we have an opportunity to encourage other businesses to come into our area, which is a tax revenue.
Well, when I grew up, Craig Air Force Base was open, and Craig left in '78.
Yes.
And millions of dollars left with it, and so did the businesses that it supported. So that's the financial reality, of that is, we need to grow and we need to attract more businesses. And so with that said, two organizations immediately come to mind. The Selma Dallas County Chamber of Commerce and the Craig Airport Authority. Have you talked with them?
Yes.
So what are they saying?
Well, everything is based along the same lines of, keeping the same structure that they have already been going up under by being up under the Selma a jurisdiction for so much as for its business license incorporation inside of the city limits. They're still okay with us incorporating, but grandfather in the same laws or principles that Selma have already allowed them to go into.
Well, and that, to bring again, the legal mind in me comes out and says, well, are there agreements, legal agreements, already in place between the city of Selma and the Craig Airport Authority and that whole industrial complex? And if so, how do you overcome the legal issues?
Now, whether they're legal or not legal, we wouldn't know that until we become established in it.
But you better know before you become an established. That's my whole point, strategic planning.
But the way we do it is actually getting ourselves to the point to where now we have the voice to be able to uncover documents that we cannot tangibly get by being a normal.
Well, no, but legally, any public, the city of Selma is still a governmental entity.
No.
And so any citizen, even if you have to sue, has access to any public records.
No.
You don't have to be an organization to get access to public records. If you do, there's something wrong.
No.
and they're legal.
Now, Randy, I definitely agree with you. But at this point, when you talk of sue, we're not trying to make enemies or trying to strong arm our.
Well, no, but you just said you can't get the information.
Right. But we have, just to be transparent and clear to the community, because we are broadcasting for the Selma community and the Selma community as well. We have FOIA requested certain information from the city hall. We have FOIA requested certain information from the county commissioners. And that roadmap have led us to limited or few information that we can get our hands on.
Well, there's something wrong with that picture, is my point.
Hey, now I'll let you say that, but
I'll say it.
I'm only going to put the facts
and
out
and the reason why I say that is because if you're going to put together a sound plan, a sound financial and political plan, then you got to have all the information, or you're not giving or the people are not making an informed decision, and that could end up being a bad decision. Is my point. All right. So now, all right. And so what I'll do, I'm going to invite other people in, who have, maybe even an opposing position to this, to see what their read on this is. So now all right. So you say before you can determine where the administrative offices are, you got to have elected officials. Yes. So the first, how do you get to the first election, and who pays for it, and how much does it cost?
Again, like when you covered it, it was one, we needed that a certain amount of money we needed the signatures to get to the first part of the hurdle. Then we needed to bring our business owners and our residents in so we can get the money situated.
So the residents and the business owners will have to pay for it.
So that's what
will they be forced to pay for it, or do they do it, or they're going to voluntarily pay?
Everything that we do is volunteer based. Like we're not trying to force the community to do anything. And because I have a background working in nonprofit work, I know how to fundraise and I know how to go look up grants for these type of operations.
And so, so you think that you'll be able to get grant money to do these? All right, but
they have plenty of strategy planning grants that's out there right now. All we have to do is do the research, and anybody that works in nonprofit or community activism, they know it's a strategy planning grant for communities, established 501c organization. It's money out there.
But everybody doesn't get granted the money. That's the point. It's competitive. It's very competitive. But I mean, I don't ever discourage anybody from doing anything like that. But again, going back to the basics. Now, and I'm assuming, because these are the same questions that residents are going to ask you. How much will an election cost?
Election will cost us around about 11 to, just say $15,000.
$15,000 to get started. Where do you get the $15,000 from?
I have to reiterate. I have a team of people that go out and write grants. So when we talk,
you're looking grant money is what you're thinking you'll be able to get grant money to do the election.
I definitely feel that if it's God will, He will provide the things that we need. So
what if it's not? What if it's not the Lord's will?
We have faith in the mission at hand. We can only allow you to say what if it's not, but the dedication and the work ethics of the people that we have, as far as our team per se, our team have worked diligently. We've been doing this since October, midnight, and we've been working diligent to be educated, well versed, and know exactly what we're talking about. So once we put together a proposal, just say we go for a grant, it would be a lot more easier for a grantor to grant us this money because they can see the footprint, the timeline, the education that we have put in to be asking to receive that money. Same vice versa when we go to the business owner and the resident. We have at least 2,700 residents inside of our community. So if we was looking at $10, $15, that's a clear hurdle that we can cross.
So each person would have to give at least $10 or $15 is what your strategy is. You're saying, right?
So, but we're not just looking at grant funding because we know grant funding is iffy, so to speak. If you awarded that grant, then you receive it. But if not, then you have to have other fundings and entities. And we already have some established entities there within the Selma community. As we stated, we want to be able to know where the funding that's being raised through sales tax, lodging taxes, other taxes within our area, where those fundings are being allocated. Because we look at our community, we were entitled to fire and police protection. We have not really received the adequate fire and police protection, but we feel that we can build on that, enhance it, along with other entities that we need within the community. So we really here this morning sharing with the Selma community that we have resources that are available to us. We've been miseducated about funding that is appropriated in the Selma community over the years. Through research, we've been able to identify some of that funding that will be beneficial to us. However, we're not sitting at the table to be able to make a decision as to what funding should come into the Selma community.
Well, now, what about the county commissioner? And shouldn't he know how monies that are being raised from taxes, how it's being distributed in his district?
Again, we do not want to point the fingers at anyone.
No, I'm just asking a question. I mean, I'm just saying, to me, that would, well, I'm not going to get into what my approach would be, but it's a question that I ask. The other thing is, what are you talking about? How many people are you talking? You're talking about the mayor, how many city council people, what form, what structure, what will be the governmental structure of Selmont?
And you asked, okay, the governmental structure will be a mayor, city council, and on that staff would be your president for the city council, along with the administration that is needed to operate the municipality. Let me give you, for instance, when you talk about the county, in speaking of concerning county benefits that may be available to us, in speaking with our county commission, he said to us he's limited in some of the services that can be provided. One of them is code enforcement. You and I both lived across that river at one point in the Selma area.
I still live in Selma.
Okay. As far as code enforcement is concerned, let me slow myself down because I'm getting excited because I'm passionate about this.
Right.
Because I don't want us to miss this opportunity again.
I've been dealing with this issue for the last 40 years.
Yes. And now is the time to move forward. If we don't, I believe it has taken us another 20 years. We started this again in 1990. In the 1990s, now we're in 2026. And instead of us increasing in wealth, increasing in development,
or population,
growth in population, instead of us increasing, we've been decreasing the last 20 plus years. We don't want to continue in that mode. So if not to continue, then it means that we need to get up citizens of Selma and do something to have a legacy for our children. And if we do nothing, then it will continue to deteriorate, and we don't want to see that happen. I ask about code enforcement because I live on one of the main streets in the Selma community. As far as code enforcement is concerned, we have commercial businesses within our community. We have areas that are dilapidated and run down and what have you, deteriorating. And we were instructed that there is nothing that code enforcement through the county can do. If we want that to be able to be distilled or no longer continue, then we have to do something through the legal system to put something in place.
Well, this is true, but then and again, I remember some of the resistance, some of the arguments from homeowners, and it was that code enforcement is going to come with a price tag. It's going to cost money to get up to code for a lot of these senior citizens that are on fixed incomes. So you got to sell them on the idea of being able to pay more money for code enforcement, the potential and the possible. Eventually, you're going to have to pay more taxes. You can grandfather in for a little while, but eventually, it's going to be more money. It's going to come down to money. And if you're dealing with a population on fixed income, what does that do?
We may have a population on fixed income, but Brandon, we have young people who are graduating from high school and college, coming back when they graduate from college. Many of them are going to the welding. They want to return home. They're bringing in salaries of $60,000 to $100,000 a year. And we can't encourage them to to come and stay in this area if we don't have industry for them to be able to make $100,000+ a year. So our goal is to work toward what we have, use what we have, and work toward what we need in order to encourage our young people. Many of them graduate from high school, of course, they want to be around family and friends and what have you. But if the income is not there to keep them in this area, then of course they migrate to somewhere else, Birmingham, Atlanta, in other places. So we're trying to encourage our young people. Yes, we have people on fixed incomes, but we have young people who want to return home and bring their $100,000+ salaries. So, and we need to develop industries so that they won't, if they want to do a restaurant, if they want to work in telemarketing or whatever, that those services will be there, or those entities will be there to assist them in making the income that they need. And those tax dollars, sales tax and what have you, will go back into the community.
Mm-hmm. Aaron?
Well, Brandon, let me please say that one thing about your statement I did hear you focus on. Annexing to the city of Selma means that area have to go up under some of the issues that Selma already have. You spoke about the dilapidated streets. You spoke about the building.
I talk about it almost every day.
So like
because we have been plagued, I hate to say it, in the past with incompetent government. And I certainly would not want to see that happen again.
So now,
and I'm not saying that it would in Selma, but the reality is when I look across America and see Black neighborhoods and Black political leadership, most of us in most places, with the exception of Montgomery and Mayor Reed, we're not getting it done.
Well, I do know for a fact because I have dealt with young men and women right now that have graduated from college that are lawyers, graduated from college that
are they good lawyers? You know, there's a bunch of lawyers out there, but they all ain't good.
based on their experience and what they do, they might be great lawyers at what they do.
Right.
So when I know that we have one or two young ladies that graduated from this area, they're now judges. Like, we have to keep in mind that we don't have that opportunity to make Selma a priority if we go up on the what you said, the already dilapidated or either the mismanagement of funding. This is a blank canvas over here in Selma.
Yeah, there's a lot of different arguments that could go along. I'm not going to get into all the arguments, but I hear what you're saying.
Right.
Again, I'm not going to get into all of the other arguments that I'm sure you're going to run up on. But going back again to the political structure. So now I'm assuming, have you already incorporated the Selmont Operation Selmont?
Yes, we're working on that right now as we speak. As we start going towards getting closer to the finish line, we're definitely working on that structure right now. That way, it's feasible for us to move forward.
Now, in the spirit of transparency, have you announced who your members are?
Yes, we have made it publicly known as we go along the way. We invite everybody to join our meeting because we usually do we always do every 10-day meeting. We just had a meeting last night. We invite the community to come out. A lot of times you will find me in front of the Curb Market, Southern Pantry, in front of all of the local businesses, trying to invite more people out to what we're doing. Let them know, like we're doing right now. We try to let them know who's spearheading the operation.
So who's spearheading this? I know you two. Who else?
Actually, we have explored persons who have experience in the area, and taxes has been a major component as to what we need as far as revenue. Someone to identify the taxes and be able to collect the taxes. We reached out to Mr. Aaron Roper, who has been assisting us in that area, along with organizational skills. Also reached out to Brother Corey Booley, who is a former, who is an educator and a former president for the city council. So we've been getting a guidance and direction. And you're well aware of the fact that we have entities within our own community, people who have been in leadership position. Just because we did not initiate, just because we did not
annex the city.
Just because we did not incorporate it in the 90s. Let me calm down. Just because we did not incorporate in the 90s, we did not stop. We continue to observe what needs to be done within our community, do research and education, and try to educate the community on what needs to be accomplished in order for us to accomplish this goal. Some people have asked us why now. Because for the last 20 plus, really 50 years, because we had a government that was there for 30 and a government that was there for over 20 years. So for the last 50 years, we've been under the umbrella of someone else, making decisions as to what we need to have done within our community in order for us to thrive. So at this particular point, if not now, when?
Well, I remember, because I was also involved in turning the tide on poverty. That was it a 6 month, or I've forgotten how long, 6 months or a year, that we got involved in Selmont. And we put together a detailed, specific strategic plan that was never followed. And that was the leadership that was responsible for not following the plan that was made. I was not one of those. I tried to follow the plan. But that's a whole nother issue. That's what I'm saying, So, all right. So you see, it's Mr. Bowie, Mr. Roper, and yourselves. Anyone else?
Community members, our leadership from the Kingsden Road to out to Pangland. We have community members who are involved, who are supportive. Along with our pastors, we met with the Ministerial Alliance and the pastors in the community who are supportive. Along with the political arena, we've met with them. We've met very few people who say don't go forward. They're saying to us, what can we do to assist you in this plan to move forward? And to be perfectly honest, and I may get in trouble with our team, but we're not here to try to take anything from any municipalities or from Dallas County. We're all in Dallas County. We need to work together as an entity in order for Dallas County to thrive. So we need to network. And we're starting this from not new, but we're starting this initiative from here now. There are others who have gone before us. History does not necessarily need to repeat itself in a negative component. We need to move forward positively. So we are encouraging the citizens of Selmount, if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, any concerns, or what have you, come to the meetings. Our next meeting is on the 16th of February at the VFW at 6 o'clock in the evening. If that's not the case, you have people within your community who have information. We've been in training, we've been educated, and we're trying to educate the community on what needs to be done in order for us. Is the financing there? Yes, we have available financing. We're not starting from zero. And we want to build on the capacity of the finances that are there. So we're asking the Selmount community, we need the 513 votes in order for us to file the application. We have
votes or signatures.
Signatures, but from signatures from registered voters in the Selmount community. This is the time for us to move forward. We don't need to wait another 10, 15, or 20 years before this opportunity comes before us again. So we're asking you, Selmount community, those 2,700 registered voters, to help us put a legacy in place for our children so they can build on it. Right now, we're going backwards instead of going forward. We grew up in that community. I've been there since 1959, following out the Reverend Dan Moore, who's my uncle, in 1956 coming across that river. And we've seen that community thrive. It's a close-knit community. We're family-oriented. And then we've seen that community dilapidate. We do not want to continue in this path. Selmount, this is your time. We need your support. If you can't reach us one way, we're on Facebook.
Operation Selmount. We also have Facebook at Operation Selmount. We have an email address is operationselmount@gmail.com, or or you can also reach out to us at 334-808-0978, and we'll get you all the information you need, try to get you established with when the meetings are going, get you some of the pre-existing minutes of how we got to this point. And Randy, I definitely want to piggyback off of what you said earlier. Our community haven't made it this far with the organization of incorporation or annex this long. It only lasted 4 to about 5 months, maybe 3 to 5 months. We have lasted for almost 6 months strong, and now we have made more steps than the last group have made. We have met with the city councilman. We have met with the county commissioner. We've met with the business owners. We're meeting with the residents on a regular basis. It used to be an in-house meeting because when I was younger, I think I was about 25. I was at the last group that tried to incorporate annex. They never even made it to hosting meetings with the outside community. So I think we're more than one step further than the group that you spoke of. We're about 5 or 6 steps further than the group that you spoke of. And we try to let God be the component that keep us together, because without God, we should all perish. So I don't like talking about what ifs or the negative thing that other people might say. We try to keep a positive mindset and be optimistic of the future that we have in Selma. And if I look at Selma right now, for me being 39, the community have changed drastically because I'm 39 and I can tell you that. So if I look at Selma, it has the opportunity to become a blank canvas if we decide to incorporate. Our picture is what we can paint together as a one collective, and then we can push forward to a new age and Selma, because other cities around us, they have to already fix the issues that they have already got. We can move to a better tomorrow by streamlining most of our service, because technology is the way right now.
Do we have the skill set? You know, technology, yeah, but in order to take advantage of the technology, you got to have people that have the skill set to use the technology.
Now, see,
I
say if we want to keep an optimistic mindset, you got one young man that's sitting right in front of you right now that uses technology on an everyday basis. So if we can start about the first one that you're looking at, it's plenty more young people that's growing up right now that all they do is tap on a computer, mess with a phone, and they make videos and they do more things that.
Which brings me, as we're running out of time, we didn't even talk about the school system, you know, and how, you know, if that's a part of your plan, or would it be a part of, would Selma be responsible for the schools? I'm sure that, again, it's a lot of legal questions, you know, that need to be answered.
Through the strategy meetings we have put together so far, we're going to leave the school system in the hands that is in at a particular time. And then we're going to try to see what we do for first responders. And then we're going to move to our school system, because we need safety in place first. That way our kids can feel more safer going to school, be involved in other things outside of the normal community. And then once we get done with the public safety, it's the education is our next strategy.
Well, and I guess, again, at the end of the day, so I'm assuming then that you talked about $1.6 million in terms of a possible base of revenue. But my question is, do you have a total budget, an initial total budget, you know, that includes the first responders and public safety and administration?
That becomes the first budget, because even the administration.
So in other words, you're saying you're gonna work with what you got,
yes,
as
sir.
Opposed to, you know, but see, well, okay, all right, that's my question.
Because if you look at city councilmen right now don't have to be inside of the building all the time. We can streamline that service as well with the same mindset. When it comes down to some of our first responders, we already pay an allocated amount of funding for a city of Selma to be over there for their ordinance over there. Then I know 1 or 2 neighborhoods have to pay like $5,100 a year for just the 1 or 2 police officers that's out in what's the neighborhood over there?
Were they high crime areas?
Yes, they have to pay $5,100 just to have a police. Jim Minor Garden paying $5,100 just to have police sitting right there at the top of that community. Now imagine what we can do with that $5,100 if we.
The question is, does it deter? The question is, will it solve the crime problem?
It has been a dramatic change since those 1 or 2 cars been sitting in that community. We are now seeing less actions of violence in our community, and we're trying to move to being able to say, if it's less violence now, imagine what'll happen once we get our own dedicated police officers in that area. Police officer in that area for the municipality that we have, that creates revenue as well. When you talk about speeding ticket, when you talk about responding to calls that comes back up out of the government, it's just so many different areas that having our own police and fire department will bring back revenue inside of our community, because that's one of the main reasons why a lot of our business owners left our community, because they did not have a dedicated police force, did not have a dedicated fire first responder. So if we look at the dedication,
the sheriff's department may not agree with you there. They may say that they've done a pretty good job of being able to.
I just had a meeting with the sheriff, the sheriff of the Dallas County the sheriff's department. So I think me and him are on the same page at this particular time. I'm not gonna divulge by putting words in his mouth, but when we had our meeting, he was on board to say, man, you guys should have been incorporated the area of Selma to become its own city.
Because we actually pay a percentage of our taxes in the community for law enforcement, public safety. However, we have not received those benefits. We've asked for at least a substation in the community, in 3 or 4 different areas. We have yet to receive one.
I remember the fight and how long it took to get a substation in GWC Homes for that part of Ward 8. It was a real fight, and so, again, the political will and all that, that you got your work cut out for you. That's the best thing. You're going to have your work cut out for you. That's for sure. We're getting ready we're out of time.
Let me just say this real quick, Randy. We're initiating we're coming upon the Bridge Crossing Jubilee, who started years ago. And when you think about it now, it's one of the largest entities here in the Selma and Dallas County area. Also, it brings people from all over the country so that we can get ideas, bring government here that we can sit down at the table and talk with them about what we're needing in the city.
So it sounds like the Jubilee Bridge Crossing organization, that they're part of what you're doing.
Yes, because they cross the bridge and they come over into the Selma area.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And, in the interest of fairness, I will invite any opposing views on as well as time goes on. I am not one to I'll never discourage a person from an idea. I always tell people, go for it, but now that may, again, we don't know what the Lord's will is, but we'll see. But good luck. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. To Selma, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like an eagle. They shall run and not get weary. They shall walk and not faint. This is our time. Go forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. I'll see you Sunday morning, right after the Garden of Eden Bible studies, 9:30ish, for gospel up until 11, and then Monday morning, 6 a.m., the Lord willing, for the Great Awakening and Viewpoint at 8:05. You have yourself a safe and enjoyable weekend. Sunday is going to start warming up. Let's join Fox News, already in progress. It is 10:02.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.